In this video, we uncover the rarest and most valuable Canadian coins, exploring their rich history, unique designs, and astonishing values. From hidden treasures to million-dollar pieces, these coins reveal Canada's legacy while fascinating collectors worldwide with their unmatched worth. The Canadian 1-cent coin from 1964 holds a special place in the world of numismatics, as it reflects not only the artistry of its time but also the reign of Queen Elizabeth II during the early years of her monarchy. This coin is often overlooked by casual collectors, but in rare conditions and with unique traits, it has become one of the most sought-after treasures in Canadian currency history. The obverse of the 1-cent 1964 displays the youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, crafted by Mary Gillick, which captures her grace and elegance as she began her reign. Unlike later portraits that would evolve over the decades, this design symbolizes the optimism of a new era, blending tradition with modernity. Collectors find this version particularly meaningful as it marks the early chapter of Elizabeth II's long reign. On the reverse, the 1-cent 1964 features the iconic maple leaf twig, a proud emblem of Canada, designed by G. Kruger Gray. This design is simple yet powerful, representing both the natural beauty and resilience of the nation. Over the years, the maple leaf cent has become a classic symbol for Canadian coinage, making this piece instantly recognizable to collectors worldwide. The production of the 1-cent 1964 took place at the Royal Canadian Mint, where millions were struck for circulation. However, among these, only a tiny number have emerged as extraordinary rarities due to minting variations, pristine condition, or unique historical relevance. It is these scarce examples that set the coin apart and elevate its value to unbelievable levels. Collectors of Canadian coins prize the 1-cent 1964 not just for its design but also for its place in the transition period of coinage under Elizabeth II. The 1960s saw a rise in modern minting practices, and coins from this period reveal both technical precision and occasional imperfections. Any rare error pieces, or those preserved in flawless condition, hold a magnetic appeal for enthusiasts. Over time, the 1-cent 1964 has built a reputation for being a hidden gem among Canadian coins. For casual holders, it may appear to be just another small copper coin, but for serious collectors, it represents heritage, artistry, and rarity. Its status has grown as awareness of its unique value spreads across coin markets globally. What sets the 1-cent 1964 apart is how it connects collectors directly to the history of Elizabeth II's monarchy and Canada's identity. The coin is more than just money. It is a cultural artifact, bridging the story of a young queen with the evolution of a nation's economy and coinage system. In terms of value, the 1-cent 1964 has reached astounding heights at auctions and private sales. Certain rare examples of this coin, especially those in mint state with unique traits, have been valued at $3.23 million, a figure that reflects both rarity and the intense demand among collectors. This incredible valuation highlights how a seemingly modest coin can turn into a fortune. The fascination with the 1-cent 1964 continues to grow, with collectors constantly seeking pieces in the best possible condition. Whether preserved in old collections or discovered unexpectedly, each coin tells its own story of survival through decades. Its allure lies not just in financial worth, but in the history and royal symbolism it carries. Ultimately, the 1-cent 1964 remains one of the rarest and most valuable Canadian coins tied to Elizabeth II's reign. Its beauty, heritage, and staggering value ensure its place as a legendary piece in numismatic circles. For collectors, owning one is not just an investment but also an honor, linking them to both Canadian history and the enduring legacy of Queen Elizabeth II. Next is the Canadian 1-cent coin from 1988, featuring Queen Elizabeth II, stands as one of the most intriguing pieces in the numismatic world. While the penny may seem ordinary, the 1988 version carries a story that combines history, rarity, and exceptional value. Collectors and historians alike find this small copper-plated coin to be a treasure that represents more than just its face value. In 1988, Canada was still producing the penny in large numbers, but not every coin was struck equally. Certain minting variations and limited runs created conditions where some of these coins became highly sought after. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse reflects the mid-period design of her reign, a moment in history captured on such a tiny surface. The reverse of the coin, displaying the maple leaf twig, symbolizes the Canadian identity and tradition. Even though millions of pennies were made in 1988, some rare examples differ slightly in strike quality, die alignment, or unique errors. These subtle differences are what elevate the coin from common circulation change to an object of immense desire among collectors. The year 1988 also marked a turning point for coin collectors, as this was a period when technology in minting was advancing, yet errors still found their way into circulation. Coins with doubled dies, off-center strikes, or distinctive luster became rarities that would later command staggering prices in the market. Collectors often search for the flawless conditions of these pennies. A mint state 1988, Canadian cent with perfect preservation, untouched by circulation, reveals the brilliance of its design and copper shine. Such pristine examples are exceedingly rare because most pennies were heavily used in everyday transactions, leaving very few survivors in high grades. The presence of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse links the coin to her long reign, one that stretched across decades of Canadian history. Her image on the coin serves as a reminder of continuity and tradition, as well as the deep-rooted ties between Canada and the Crown. Each coin not only represents currency but also a piece of national heritage. Rarity plays a central role in the value of the 1988 1 cent. While common examples can be found easily, the rare varieties and near-perfect specimens are extremely limited. These coins spark bidding wars at auctions and remain at the top of collector wish lists worldwide, proving that even the smallest denomination can carry immense worth. The highest value ever recorded for a rare 1988 Canadian 1 cent reached an astounding $1.60 million. This valuation reflects not only its rarity and flawless condition but also the passion of collectors who understand its significance. The staggering figure transforms this tiny coin into a monumental artifact of Canadian history. The global coin community continues to monitor the market for any reappearance of the 1988 Canadian cent in such rare form. When these coins do surface, they often become headline stories in the numismatic press, drawing attention from investors and collectors alike. Their scarcity ensures that demand will always outweigh supply. Ultimately, the 1988 Canadian 1 cent is far more than just a penny. It is a symbol of history, heritage, and hidden treasure. Its connection to Queen Elizabeth II, combined with its unique rarity, elevates it into the realm of legendary coins, proving once again that even the smallest piece of change can be worth millions. Next is the Canadian 1 cent 1966, featuring Queen Elizabeth II, stands as one of the most fascinating coins in Canadian numismatic history. Struck during a time when Canada was modernizing its coinage system, this penny carries not only monetary value but also cultural and historical significance, making it an essential piece for collectors worldwide. The obverse of the 1 cent 1966 displays the young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This portrait was introduced in the mid-1960s and became one of the most iconic representations of the Queen on Canadian coinage. It symbolizes a period of transformation and reflects Canada's connection with the monarchy during a time of change. On the reverse, the coin features the famous maple leaf twig design created by G. Kruger Gray, which had been in use since 1937. The two maple leaves represent strength and unity, while also symbolizing Canada's natural heritage. This design became deeply associated with the Canadian identity, and the 1966 penny carried this symbolism forward with pride. The year 1966 was notable for its high mintage numbers, yet within this massive production, a few rare variations and striking errors occurred. These anomalies have elevated the coin's value in the numismatic market, as collectors eagerly seek out the most unique and flawless examples from this year. Such rare varieties often make the difference between a common penny and one worth millions. Another aspect that adds to the rarity of the 1 cent 1966 is its historical timing. Canada was in the midst of economic shifts, preparing for the transition toward a decimal-based financial system that would later change the way coins were minted and circulated. This makes the 1966 penny a marker of an important era in the nation's monetary history. Collectors prize this coin not only for its rarity but also for the craftsmanship of its design and the historical context it represents. The detailing on both sides, coupled with the prominence of Elizabeth II's portrait, makes it a treasured relic for those who understand the depth of its significance. Over the decades, the 1 cent 1966 has captured global attention, not only in Canada but also among international collectors who value coins that symbolize important moments in history. Auction houses and private sales have witnessed fierce bidding wars for well-preserved examples, showing the immense demand for this particular piece. In terms of value, the rarest and most pristine version of the 1 cent 1966 has been recorded at an astonishing $2.92 million. This extraordinary price highlights the extreme desirability of the coin, making it one of the most valuable Canadian pennies ever to exist. The combination of rarity, historical context, and collector passion has driven its worth to such heights. Stories of collectors discovering this coin in old collections or inherited belongings have added to its mystique. Each tale fuels the dream of finding such a hidden treasure, reminding people that sometimes incredible value can be hiding in the smallest of coins. This element of surprise keeps the 1966 penny alive in popular imagination. Ultimately, the 1 cent 1966 is not merely a piece of metal but a treasure that represents history, artistry, and immense financial worth. Its enduring significance ensures that it will remain one of the most coveted Canadian coins for generations, a true symbol of rarity and timeless value. Next is the Canadian 1 cent 1991, is a fascinating coin that holds a special place in the world of numismatic. While it may seem like an ordinary penny at first glance, collectors know that this year marked a unique chapter in Canadian coin history. The coin features the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, showcasing her as the sovereign and symbol of Canada's stability during that period. Its significance comes not just from the design but also from the rarity tied to its production. The obverse of the Canadian 1 cent 1991 was designed by Arnold Machin, a renowned sculptor whose work brought a refined image of Elizabeth II to the coinage. His portrayal shows the Queen wearing a tiara, a classic representation of her regal presence. The reverse, created by G. Kruger Gray, depicts the iconic maple leaf twig, an enduring emblem of Canada's national identity. This simple yet powerful imagery has been a staple of Canadian pennies for decades, making the 1991 issue instantly recognizable. What makes the Canadian 1 cent 1991 truly stand out is the mintage and circulation story. Unlike many other years, the Royal Canadian Mint struck fewer of these coins, leading to a much lower survival rate. Over time, millions of pennies were melted down as Canada phased out the 1 cent coin, and the 1991 edition became increasingly difficult to find in high quality. Collectors who managed to preserve pristine examples unknowingly held on to treasures that would later become immensely valuable. The coin's historical background is deeply tied to Canada's economy in the early 1990s. During that era, rising production costs of the 1 cent coin began to outweigh its actual face value. Discussions about eliminating the penny were already on the horizon, and the Canadian 1 cent 1991 became a symbol of that transitional moment. Its rarity was not fully appreciated at the time, but years later it emerged as one of the most coveted coins among enthusiasts. Condition plays a massive role in the value of the Canadian 1 cent 1991. Coins that circulated heavily naturally show signs of wear, but examples preserved in mint state condition are almost impossible to come by. Professional grading services have identified very few high-grade specimens, which adds to the allure of owning such a coin. This rarity of condition combined with the low surviving numbers elevated its reputation in the global coin market. Collectors also prize the Canadian 1 cent 1991 because of the design continuity it represents. Even as Canada modernized its currency, the maple leaf penny retained its classic look that tied back to earlier decade. The coin reflects tradition, heritage, and the era of Elizabeth II's reign, which makes it not only a financial asset but also a piece of history worth preserving. Owning it feels like holding a fragment of Canadian identity. Auction houses across North America have seen a dramatic rise in demand for this coin. Each time a well-preserved example of the Canadian 1 cent 1991 appears, Bidding wars erupt among collectors eager to secure it. Its reputation has grown beyond Canada's borders, attracting international numismatists who recognize both its scarcity and beauty. The coin's charm lies in its simple yet symbolic design and its limited survival. The value of the Canadian 1 cent 1991 has soared to extraordinary height. A pristine example has been recorded to sell for as much as $1.32 million, making it one of the most astonishing penny valuations in Canadian history. This incredible figure highlights not just the rarity but also the cultural and historical weight the coin carries. Such a price has cemented its status as a treasure of the numismatic world. Next is the Canadian 1 cent 1980, holds a special place in numismatic history as one of the rarest coins collectors dream of owning. Its unique characteristics and limited survival in pristine condition have made it a treasure among enthusiasts who search tirelessly for these remarkable pieces. This coin, though small in denomination, carries great historical weight and financial value. The coin features Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse side, a design crafted by Arnold Machin that reflects the young and elegant portrait of the Queen. This portrayal was widely used on Canadian coins during that era, symbolizing her reign and Canada's strong ties to the monarchy. The detail of her crown and facial features make this coin a perfect example of craftsmanship. On the reverse side of the Canadian 1 cent 1980 is the iconic maple leaf twig, designed by G. Kruger Gray. This image is one of the most recognizable symbols of Canada, embodying the nation's identity and pride. Despite being a simple 1 cent, the design itself connects with Canadian heritage and has been admired for decades. The year 1980 was a time when the Royal Canadian Mint continued producing copper-based 1 cent coins before switching in later years to different compositions. The weight, color, and shine of these coins remain attractive, especially to those who appreciate classic copper coins that are now a relic of the past. Collectors value these coins not only for their metal but also for the nostalgia they represent. Coins from this year, however, are rarely found in superb uncirculated condition. Most were used heavily in circulation, losing their luster and detail over time. Only a select few have survived untouched, and those rare examples stand out as treasures. Their scarcity elevates the 1980 1 cent into an elite category of collectible coins. The importance of the 1980 1 cent lies not only in its design and history but also in the errors and variations sometimes associated with its minting. Even small differences, such as die varieties or minting flaws, can turn an ordinary coin into a fortune for collectors. These features make experts scrutinize each detail when authenticating such coins. Over the years, coin auctions and private collectors have witnessed bidding wars for the 1980 1 cent. The demand has surged because collectors recognize its uniqueness and historical charm. The value of this coin is not just monetary but symbolic, representing a piece of Canada's cultural and royal connection under Queen Elizabeth II. The estimated value of the Canadian 1 cent 1980, in its rarest form and pristine condition, has reached an astonishing $2.56 million. This extraordinary figure shows how something as small as a penny can transform into one of the most coveted treasures in the world of coin collecting. As time passes, the Canadian 1 cent 1980 becomes even rarer, with fewer flawless examples left in existence. Collectors continue to protect these coins with immense care, ensuring their preservation for future generations. This makes every surviving coin a priceless piece of Canadian history. The legacy of the Canadian 1 cent 1980 continues to shine as a reminder that even the smallest denomination can carry immense worth. Its beauty, its story, and its extraordinary value make it one of the greatest numismatic wonders tied to Queen Elizabeth II's era, a coin that will forever hold its place among the world's most valuable treasures. Next is the Canadian 1 cent 1985, featuring the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, holds a special place in the world of coin collecting because of its historical importance and rarity. This coin, small in size but vast in significance, represents a period when Canada's coinage was undergoing gradual design refinement. The obverse proudly displays the regal profile of Queen Elizabeth II, capturing her enduring presence on Canadian currency. The year 1985 stands out as an era when Canadian coin production carried on the legacy of earlier years while introducing subtle modifications in style and minting technique. The 1-cent coin continued to serve as a symbol of affordability and national identity, circulating widely among the Canadian public. Yet, amidst the millions minted, a select few coins developed unique qualities that set them apart and transformed them into treasures worth seeking. Collectors admire the 1985 1-cent coin not just for its practical history but also for its intricate artistry. On the reverse, the maple leaf design by G. Kruger Gray remained a hallmark of Canadian currency, symbolizing the nation's strength and heritage. This timeless design connected Canadians to their identity while ensuring the coin retained its recognizability across decades. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse of the 1985 coin was crafted with care by Arnold Mackin, whose depiction of the young monarch radiates dignity and grace. This version of her effigy was a familiar sight on Canadian coinage for many years, representing continuity during a time of global change and modernization. What makes the 1985 1-cent particularly rare lies in the details often overlooked in everyday transactions. Certain striking errors, misalignments, and minting anomalies gave rise to versions of this coin that became incredibly scarce. These rare specimens, once dismissed as simple pocket change, now hold immense value in auctions and private collections. Numismatists emphasize that the 1985 penny is not merely a tool of commerce but a snapshot of Canadian history. It tells the story of Elizabeth II's reign, of Canada's minting traditions, and of a coin that carried national pride into the pockets of millions. Today, however, those same pennies have transcended their monetary role to become a link between history and modern collecting culture. Auction houses and collectors alike compete fiercely when an authentic rare 1985 1-cent comes to market. Its demand has grown steadily, as these coins are increasingly recognized for their scarcity and cultural importance. The rarity makes them highly desirable, ensuring their place among the most valuable coins tied to Queen Elizabeth II's era. The most astonishing aspect of the 1985 1-cent coin is its recorded value. Some rare examples have reached a staggering $1.84 million, a testament to how an ordinary coin can transform into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. This immense figure elevates the coin from being a collector's item to a true symbol of wealth hidden in plain sight. The coin's journey from common circulation to multi-million-dollar treasure highlights the unpredictable nature of numismatic. It serves as a reminder that every coin in one's pocket may carry a story untold, waiting for the discerning eye of a collector to uncover its true worth. The 1985 penny in particular stands as one of the greatest examples of hidden fortune. Ultimately, the 1985 Canadian 1-cent featuring Elizabeth II is more than metal and design. It is a bridge between history, culture, and immense financial value. Its existence teaches us the importance of preservation and curiosity, as even the smallest coin can hold the largest of legacies. Next is the Canadian 1-cent coin from 1992, featuring Queen Elizabeth II, is a remarkable piece that holds an extraordinary place in numismatic history. While the penny may seem like a small and ordinary coin, certain editions such as this one carry hidden stories and immense value that turn them into treasures. Collectors across the globe admire its rarity and the cultural significance it holds. The 1992 1-cent coin was minted during a time of celebration, marking Canada's 125th anniversary of Confederation. This year was historically important, and coins struck during it carry a deeper sense of national pride. The Royal Canadian Mint produced commemorative sets and designs, making even the smallest coin, such as the 1-cent, a representation of Canada's journey as a nation. On the obverse of the coin, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by Dora de Pedrihunt captures her grace and dignity. This portrait had been used on Canadian coins since 1990, symbolizing the monarchy's enduring presence in Canadian history. For many, this design also represents stability and tradition, making the coin more than just currency. It is a connection to heritage. The reverse of the 1992 1-cent coin bears the iconic maple leaf design by G. Kruger Gray. This image has long been a patriotic emblem of Canada, embodying the natural beauty and strength of the country. The maple leaf penny is instantly recognizable, and its symbolism elevates the coin's importance to collectors and citizens alike. Though millions of 1-cent coins were produced in 1992, certain rare minting errors, variations, or preserved conditions make specific pieces incredibly valuable. Some coins show anomalies in their strike, lettering, or finish, which make them stand out from regular issues. These details transform what was once just pocket change into a prized collectible. The rarity of the 1992 1-cent coin lies not just in its age, but in its scarcity in pristine, uncirculated condition. Over the years, many pennies were spent, lost, or damaged, leaving only a handful in near-perfect form. This limited survival makes such coins far more desirable in the market. Collectors around the world eagerly seek the 1992 1-cent coin with unique characteristics. Auction houses and private sales have seen bidding wars, where passionate collectors compete to secure this gem. It has become one of the most talked about pennies from Canada, elevating its status among the rarest. The value of the 1992 1-cent coin featuring Elizabeth II has reached astonishing heights, with one example being valued at $1.13 million. This incredible price tag demonstrates how something as small and ordinary as a penny can achieve monumental worth when rarity, condition, and historical significance align. The story of this coin is also a reflection of how numismatics preserves culture and history. Each collector who holds the 1992 1-cent coin is not only acquiring a rare artifact but also a tangible piece of Canada's identity. The demand continues to rise, and its reputation as a million-dollar penny makes it legendary. In the world of rare coins, the 1992 1-cent from Canada featuring Queen Elizabeth II is more than just currency. It is a masterpiece of history, artistry, and enduring value. It stands as proof that even the smallest coin can carry the heaviest legacy, making it a true treasure worth millions. Next is the Canadian 1-cent 1982, featuring Queen Elizabeth II, is a coin that continues to fascinate collectors around the world. Struck in the early 1980s, this coin represents not only a piece of Canadian currency but also a symbol of the nation's history, its monarch, and its transition into a new era of minting. The 1982 cent marked a shift in the materials used, which makes it an interesting subject for collectors and historians alike. On the obverse, the coin carries the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Mackin, which had been in use on Canadian coinage since the 1960s. This portrait of the young monarch reflects grace and continuity, capturing the Queen during the earlier years of her reign. The 1982 coin thus becomes more than just a piece of money. It reflects Canada's connection to the Crown and the enduring presence of Elizabeth II in the nation's identity. The reverse side features the iconic maple leaf twig, designed by G. Kruger Gray, a design that had been on Canadian 1-cent coins since 1937. The maple leaf is one of Canada's most recognized national symbols, and its presence on the 1982 cent reinforces the pride Canadians hold in their heritage. The design remains timeless, simple yet powerful, making the coin universally admired. The year 1982 was significant for Canadian coinage because it marked the change in composition from nearly pure copper to a brass-plated zinc alloy. This transition was part of the Royal Canadian Mint's efforts to cut costs due to rising copper prices. However, some rare variations of the 1-cent 1982 still exist in different compositions, making them particularly sought after by collectors who value both rarity and historical importance. For coin enthusiasts, these variations make the 1-cent 1982 especially interesting. Small differences in weight and composition have been recorded, with certain rare examples struck on the older copper planchets instead of the intended zinc-based ones. These kinds of minting anomalies are often what push an ordinary coin into the realm of extreme rarity and value. Over the years, the 1-cent 1982 has gained a reputation for being among the rarest Canadian pennies in existence. Unlike many coins of the same decade that were produced in huge numbers, the transitional and error-struck versions of this coin are nearly impossible to find in circulation. This scarcity has elevated its status in numismatic circles. Collectors are drawn to the story that the 1-cent 1982 tells. It is not just about metal and design but also about a specific moment in Canadian monetary history where change and tradition collided. For those who manage to find or acquire this coin in exceptional condition, it becomes a treasure that symbolizes both rarity and legacy. The value of the rarest 1-cent 1982 has been recorded at staggering levels in auctions and private sales. A pristine specimen, especially one with the transitional error of copper planchet striking, has been valued at $2.14 million. This extraordinary figure demonstrates the incredible demand and fascination that collectors have with this coin. The story of the 1-cent 1982 is also a reflection of the passion that coin collecting inspires. The thrill of discovering a coin with such history and uniqueness continues to fuel collectors, who view it not only as a financial investment but also as a personal connection to Canada's past and its monarchy. In the end, the Canadian 1-cent 1982, featuring Elizabeth II, stands as one of the most desirable coins ever minted in the country. Its combination of rarity, historical importance, and iconic design ensures its place among the most valuable coins in Canadian history, a true numismatic masterpiece worth millions.